Hello, people of the internet. Welcome to my dungeon where we're going to discuss amplifiers. Alright, so we're going to talk about 3 amplifiers today. Only 2 are actually here. But we're going to talk about another integrated amp that's not here, that I sold before I made this video. It's sad. Can't be here. I might put a nice photo of it here. That one is the Musical Paradise MP303. That one is a Class D hybrid integrated amplifier. It has one RCA input and one DAC input. Not super familiar with DACs. It's the sort of DAC that you plug like a printer USB cable into, and then into your computer. You can play through it. I had that for many years, and it sounded fine. Didn't have too many complaints. It didn't sound great, but it didn't sound bad. I, before that, had an Audio Research VSI 55, which was a tube amp. I'll put a picture of it here. And before that, I had numerous amps, most of which tube. I had a Marantz integrated that was not tube. I had a Rogue Kronos Magnum 2. I had a Rogue Kronos non-Magnum, which had EL34s instead of the KT88s or the KT120s. I don't remember which was in the Magnum 2 anymore. It's been a while. I had a Triode EL34 based integrated for a while. I had a Bewitch 6550. And then some other amps too that I probably am forgetting. But what I had done was I had kind of stopped listening to records as much, or music. I had kind of gone to headphones only. And so I had sold the Audio Research and then bought the Musical Paradise 303, which is somewhat similar in design to something like the Rogue Sphinx, but way cheaper, because I think that is like a $2,000 amplifier versus the Musical Paradise, which was around just north of 200, I think around 300 after shipping. And so, being that it only had one RCA input, I eventually wanted more. So I had bought the Noob or Knob Sound 2 preamp to go with that. And you can watch that video if you look down in the below. There's some links. You'll find that video, and I discuss that. And then, so I'm like, this is interesting. After I plugged it into that MP303, I opened up a whole new world of options of like amps that I could plug it into and get different stuff out of. So then I found this Emotiva. This is a Basics, or Base X, depending on how you like to pronounce things. A100. It is no longer made. It has been replaced with a different model, of which I don't know. I think it's the A2, but don't quote me on that. I will put the model number here. And so I compared and contrasted the Musical Paradise to the Emotiva, and these are my findings. The Musical Paradise had a better mid-range and a better upper mid-range and high frequency than the Emotiva. The Emotiva had a significantly better bass punch. They are essentially similar in that they are both integrated amplifiers with one input. They both have passive preamps, which I describe in my preamp video. You can watch that in the link down below. This one has one big knob. The other one also had one big knob, the reference the picture that I showed earlier. But the Emotiva, the top end sounded a little grainier, but the bass was enjoyable enough, and I was able to put in the mullered preamp tubes into the Noob Sound preamp that it sounded about as good. Or maybe not, the mid-range and the highs maybe didn't sound as good, but they were pretty good. So I sold the MP303, and I stuck with this Emotiva and the Noob Sound. Then I decided, I wonder what it would sound like with a real power amplifier. Enter the Vidar. This is 50 watts per channel. This is 100 watts per channel. Much louder. Some may say it's twice as loud. They are correct. Comparing and contrasting these two sonically, this one is more balanced across all frequencies. This one sort of has what I've determined to be the Emotiva house sound, which is sort of lots of bass, not so much mids, and the highs tend to be a little grainy. But not so much so that they're not enjoyable. In terms of price, this one was under $300. This one, I believe, is $699 new. I believe. That sounds right. This one has more functionality. This one is just a power amp. This one has a knob. This one has no knob. It has vent holes. This one has a jack for headphones. This one has holes for venting. This one makes a kind of cool sound when you run your finger across the heat sinks. This one doesn't have heat sinks, and it doesn't make a cool sound. I would say that this one is much more sonically audiophile than this one. This one's great. This one will make a lot of people happy. Most people happy. This one sounds better. Not as much bass punch, which it can get a little much, I'm not going to lie. This one has no tone controls. This obviously has no tone controls. It has no controls except for a power switch. And the bass is a little much sometimes. I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. This one is heavier. This one is lighter. Did I mention they have similar footprints? If I didn't, they have similar footprints. If I already did, I'm sorry for being redundant. Let's flip these guys around and take a look at the backside, because that's kind of interesting too. All right, we are back. These have been flipped around so we can see the differences between the back of these. So let's start with the Vidar. Binding posts, power switch, IEC power connection, XLR input for mono only, RCA in from your preamp, power switch, non-grounded power, speaker outputs, input, output, this you have your trigger to actually turn it on. You could turn it on so it's on all the time, off so it's off all the time, or auto will sense when there's a signal coming through and turn itself from standby to on. This has a power switch. That feature is fantastic. I wish this had that feature. It does not. This I have to stick my hand all the way back here and turn it off. This has a fan that I've never heard turn on. This one gets a little warm. This one, made in USA. This one, made in China. It says that somewhere, I'm sure. I think so. It's definitely made in China. Designed in the U.S., made in China. So, would I say that this one is 3 times as good as this one? Maybe. It's definitely better. If you love heavy bass, that'll be your guy. If you want more detail, smoother highs, more neutral soundstage, this one's your guy. In terms of soundstage, they're both basically the same. I don't hear a real big difference between soundstage on either of these two. Basically, it comes down to what frequencies you like to hear. If you like to hear bass, you would prefer this one by a lot. If you want more of an audiophile presentation of your music, this one's the way to go. If you don't have a lot of money, that one's fine. If you have a little bit more money to throw around, try that one. Better yet, buy them used. You can only buy this one used. This one is no longer made. This one you can still order. They'll send it to your house for a lot of money. $700 plus shipping and tax and stuff like that. Emotiva. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm going to be doing some more videos on some phono preamps, like the Manny by Schiit, the Emotiva XP1 phono preamp, and some other ones. So I should probably tell you what type of systems I've used this with. In terms of speakers, I've been using KEF R300s. They have since been replaced by the R3s, which look very similar in spec, a little bit different in aesthetic, but not much. In terms of phono preamp, I've been using the Hagerman Bugle 2. I've also been using the VPI Scout turntable with a Denon DL301 MK2, as well as a Yamaha CD player, and of course the Noob Sound preamp, which you could watch that video. Go watch it. Come back. We'll still be here. Actually, we won't, because this video is done. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.